Check, check, check. Okay, you try and talk. Hmm. I can see my mic moving, which is good. I don't hear any audio coming from the headphones, though. Let's see. Properties. Can he hear you? I can hear you, too. But can they hear us? Yeah, I want to make sure they can hear us. Local file, customers. It looks like it turned off all of our sources, which is extremely weird. There we go. You're hearing me twice? Oh man, this is an adventure. Let's see. Let me go to GridFam here. GridFam, I am muted. So he can't hear you, he can only hear me. Okay, okay. Let me see, properties. Try that.
Check. You guys got me?
Okay, I got you now. That's fixed. Now, that should be it, I think, because I can see you moving now on the mixer. Let's try this. Nope, okay, so the output is not working. Now we can hear you both, okay.
All right.
Alright, we're back, so let's just start over from where we were here because we are on episode 4. A lot of stuff going on the last couple days. We were going over some NFL. NFL is where we're at right now. So we got Dallas, the Giants, and Washington are in the hunt for an actual playoff spot. Not a wild card spot, an actual playoff spot. That's how bad the NFC East is.
Right.
Dallas has to beat the Giants. Washington has to beat Philly Sunday night. Oh, no, sorry. Washington has to lose to Philly Sunday night in order for Dallas to make it. If the Giants win, I believe they also need Washington to lose. Let me double check that. Let me double check my numbers here.
Well, here, I'll write it down for you. It looks like the race for the East is going to be Washington football team can clinch if they win. Simple as that for them. But they have, I don't know if they're going to have the Heineke or they're going to have Smith Bank, Alex Smith.
Yeah.
We have the Cowboys. Your Cowboys need a win, and they need the Washington Football Club team to lose, and then the Giants obviously need to beat your Cowboys to get in, and then they need Washington to lose. So the only team that has a straight shot right there is going to be the good old Washington football team. If they win, they're in. That's it. But your boys have some work to do.
They're gonna pull through. I'm telling you, it's gonna happen. And then, so the other one on the docket is Arizona, who I believe they are fighting for a wild card spot between Chicago and the LA Rams. They are one game behind the Rams. They are tied with Chicago, so they need a win, a Rams loss, and a Chicago loss, I believe, to sneak into the wild card spot. Right now, Chicago and the Rams hold that spot. And then in the AFC, it's a lot more laid back, a lot more chill. The Colts are on the bubble basically, and they are going. There's quite possibly they could have 11 wins and not make the playoffs.
Yeah,
that is insane.
Yeah, and that's the craziness about this, is you can have teams that have these crazy records, good records, and it happens on both sides, on both the NFC and the AFC this year. And then you have years like this where you have an NFC East race that is it's just bad. But you also get some surprises. You get some teams that sneak in there and with poor records and have made some noise. Again, back to you go back to those giant teams that beat the Patriots. On those situations, they got in there with poor records. I know the year that they beat the Patriots when they were undefeated going into the Super Bowl, I think they were 9-7 and a miracle victory in Green Bay. So. Yeah, I mean, it can happen. I'm interested to see it. I know the Cowboys have been playing better. I think Andy Dalton is starting to look a little bit better. Zeke is still, he needs to come out of his shell and get back into his old self. But I guess defensively too, they're playing a little bit better. So they have a shot, man. They have a shot. I think your prediction may be right. As much as I would hate to see the boys in there, but it's probably going to happen. I just Washington with the Haskins thing, like we were talking about last week. Yeah. Which remember we said it. We were talking
I was going to say
it,
you said it.
You're that close, man. You are that close from getting kicked out, and sure
he gets
enough,
cut like 2 days later.
Yeah, I like to say it was inside information, but it was just one of those too easy to see not to call. So
yeah, and the fact that nobody wanted him, nobody picked him up.
Yeah.
I think you're not worth $4 million.
Yeah. Last I heard, Carolina was kicking the tires on that to see if they wanted to bring him in, but I'm just not sure why they would. But yeah, some interesting scenarios there with the NFC East. We have the number 1 seed is still up in the air, and like you ran down with the race for some wildcard spots with the Rams, Bears, and Cardinals. That's going to be interesting to see. The Rams are losing their starting quarterback, or they lost their starting quarterback, and now they're losing, or they've also lost Cooper Kupp. So interesting to see.
Hit. And they play Arizona.
Who's trying to get in themselves.
Yeah.
So it's just been a rash of crazy stuff happening all around the league. Twitter has been lighting up today with all kinds of crazy stuff. With players that are going to be out, teams that are playing guys, teams that are not playing guys, whether it be for rest because of COVID. It's been a crazy day on the Twitter, watching on there what's happening. But the other interesting thing for me is this number 1 seed. I guess for the last couple of weeks, I thought this thing was wrapped up. I just didn't even think twice about it. I thought the Packers had this thing handled. The Saints were going to be number 2, but now you look at it and it's it's pretty close. The Packers need a win or a Seattle loss and they can clinch. The Saints need a win plus a Green Bay loss plus a Seattle win. I mean, it's some crazy scenarios, but hey, we've seen great things happen. They need Seahawks need a win plus New Orleans to lose and Green Bay to lose. But it's crazy to think that even in this last week of the season, we still have so much up in the air. It's kind of nice to see
like
that.
It's like a fantasy football playoff. Just people fighting over one spot.
It is, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. But the good news is Green Bay is the only team of those 3 that's playing an above 500 team, and they're playing Chicago at 8-7. Seattle's playing San Francisco at 6-9. New Orleans plays Carolina at 5-10. Realistically, I think all 3 of those teams are going to win. I think the way it's seeded right now is the way it's going to stay in the NFC. The AFC, that's like I said. I think the NFC playoffs right now to me are a little boring, just because regardless of who makes it, I don't think those teams can compete with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills and the Titans, even Miami right now, the way they're playing. I just don't think there's a couple teams, maybe your 1, 2, and 3 seed are the ones that can actually compete with them. With the Rams losing, some big names. I mean, and not to take anything away from Tampa, it's Tampa's right now, they're that team that's in the 7 seed and they have to win to become the 6 seed in fantasy football, and then they end up just outscoring everyone into the playoffs. That's the team I think everyone needs to be worried about right now, because they have a scary team and they are starting to wake up.
Yeah, they are. They're coming together at the right time. But before we go too much further too with this number 1 seed, I wanted to remind you too, which again was another crazy thing that happened on Twitter. The complete running back room for the Saints is out.
Yeah.
No Kamara, no. I mean nothing.
Yeah.
They're bringing in. They're going to run Taysom Hill out there with a. They're going to run a backup running back that they're bringing up from the practice squad. So, with a little bit of a banged up Drew Brees who's still trying to get back, it's going to be interesting to see how that happens. Because I don't know that anybody wants to go up to Green Bay and play in that cold. And if they are the number 1 seed, it's going to be tough to get out there and play, especially when teams are banged up. Especially with a team like the Saints who plays in a dome, and they have their guys banged up a little bit. I don't think they want to go over there. So it'd be interesting to see how they handle that now with with that whole running back room being out.
Give it to
Kamara coming
Taysom Hill.
off. He'll probably go out there and run 6 touchdowns just the same way Kamara did.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun to see that portion of it. But like you said, moving to the AFC, I mean, obviously it's the Chiefs to lose. It's gonna be fun to see. I think there's a lot of teams still have some stuff to play for. You have a division that's still up in the air in the AFC South. The Titans can clinch that with a win or a Colts loss, and then the Colts can win it with a win and a Titans loss. So a lot of scoreboard watching this weekend or tomorrow. That's why we're here, because we want to throw out some predictions with some of these games. But also you have, you still have the Ravens who are alive. You got the Dolphins that are alive. The Browns are alive, but really trying to screw this thing up, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're coming back to some Brown stuff, aren't they?
I was gonna say they're like the New York Jets of the winners. Like they just all you have to do is keep doing what you've been doing, and now all of a sudden it's like they forgot how to play almost.
Yeah.
And again, Cleveland's got some pieces. Baker Mayfield is turning out to be an amazing quarterback. Double-digit wins in Cleveland. It's just one of those things. Like you get excited when you see that in Cleveland, because for so long, they were struggling to get 5 wins, and to see them turning it around right now and then getting this close, and you're like, come on, man, just like you're rooting. They're the underdog and they're 10-5,
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing. How about that? You go for so long trying to get wins together, and here you are with 10 wins or so, and you might miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
That sucks, man. They played their behinds off, but they just haven't been able to get this COVID thing under control, and they're missing a lot of guys. And I again reading on Twitter today, still a lot of guys, a lot of issues over there. They're opening and closing the facilities. I can't imagine that does any good for them coming into the weekend with so much on the line. But hopefully they can focus up, man, and do some stuff. Baker Mayfield needs to defend his house. He's got commercials that say as much. It's my house, that he needs to go out there and defend it. And hopefully he does. Like you said, I've had a lot of fun watching him and come into his own this year. And even with losing OBJ, seems like the offense still, has kicked it into high gear. That's going to serve for an interesting conversation for the offseason, what they do with him moving forward. But yeah, man, it's going to be pretty fun to watch all these games tomorrow. I'll probably have it on Red Zone and try to keep up with what the heck is happening with who. And
for sure.
It's gonna be wild. And the NFL does a great job of putting all the games on at the same time.
Yeah.
On Sunday, no Monday night game, no all the games are tomorrow. Everything gets taken care of tomorrow. So fun to watch.
I did see that
we'll see what happens.
I did see on the headlines that the Jets are reportedly expecting to fire Coach Adam Gase after tomorrow's game against the Patriots. So good news for the Jets. I think that's a solid move. I've never liked Adam Gase. I've never liked anything he's done for any team he's been a part of. And the other big news was just a small transition. BYU's top quarterback, Zach Wilson, has declared for the NFL draft.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be another interesting thing to see. Kind of, there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to be pulling quarterbacks. I think this year. I think this was one of those years where some teams were like, we gotta find something.
Yeah, so. and to tie it back to the NFL, to hit on that Adam Gase thing, I have to be very, very careful how I speak about Adam Gase, because there has been reports that Bill Belichick is fond of Adam Gase, which I, for the life of me, don't understand. But apparently, they may bring him in as a quarterback coach, seeing as though their quarterback coach was hired on, I believe, as the Arizona head coach in college. So they're looking for a quarterback coach. Adam Gase is the name that they're kicking the tires on, and it'd be interesting to see if the Jets go with a Justin Fields, for example, after a great performance yesterday.
Yeah.
If they would take on a guy like Sam Darnold and kind of package that up, it'd be kind of weird because a lot of people feel like Gase is kind of ruining his career, but
yeah.
We'll see. But the BYU quarterback is definitely a prospect that I think the Patriots are going to have their eye on because I do not see Cam Newton next year being the quarterback of the Patriots. I mean, I at least hope not. He lost me this year. I know that he didn't have an off season, but when you can't throw the ball 5 yards down the field to a guy that's wide open, kind of a problem.
Yeah. So who is
yeah.
your pick? Who is your pick for the next New York Jets head coach? You can hire whoever you want. Obviously, it can't be an active head coach.
It's tough. I would not be surprised to see them go into the college ranks. Now, I did hear that the Jaguars are looking at Urban Meyer, first of all, to come up to Jacksonville and potentially be there with their number one pick, which by all accounts is going to be Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
And if not, I guess the backup plan has been talked about that it may end up being their coach, the Ohio State coach now, Ryan Day. Or is it Brian or Ryan?
I think.
But either way,
Brian.
he's a potential candidate if they can't get Urban Meyer. So
do the Jets go after Eric Bieniemy?
So for the Jets, with all that being said, maybe I think they're definitely going to talk to him. I mean, what are the other candidates that are out there?
That's the question is, if you are a candidate, if you are Eric Bieniemy, if you're one of those guys that's long overdue for a head coaching job, do you want to go to the New York Jets? And how much power are they going to give you to clean house?
Last night's game, the Ohio State Clemson game, could have changed the minds of a lot of future or potential, coaches that are on their list. Meaning, you no longer go, oh shoot, they screwed up, and now we don't have a shot at Trevor Lawrence. After seeing what Justin Fields did yesterday, maybe an opportunity. Somebody may be looking at it going, you know what? Even with the number 2 pick, it may not be such a bad pick after all. We can go ahead and pick this kid up, trade Sam Darnold, get something in return for him. Some more picks, get back into that draft, pick up some guys, and then see what we have. I mean, it may be an opportunity for them to start something up. What are your thoughts on Justin Fields, if I may?
I will say this, and I had told you going into the week before going into that game with Ohio State and Clemson. Clemson is going to have to stop the run, and you saw it early. They were pounding Clemson. They could not stop the run. Trey Sermons is a great running back. And I think that opens the field up so much for Justin Fields. Justin Fields is a great quarterback. I'm not taking away 6 touchdowns. I mean, best game of his career, and he did it when he had to. But
right.
I'm going to say it right now. If Alabama cannot stop the run of Ohio State and Trey Sermon, they're not going to win that game. They're not going to win that game.
Yeah. It's going to be fun to watch that game. I was a little shocked that game turned out the way it did. I was, he has a pretty deep ball, and he found some guys. I mean, granted, they're wide open, but he did find some guys, and he was pretty resilient coming after that hit, which some people say targeting, other people don't. He hit him with the crown of his helmet, and he hit him pretty clean. But as far as he got him good. I saw that, and I turned to my son who was watching it with me, and I said, "Ooh, he might be done." That was rough. But he came right back in there, man. I think he missed one play, if that. I think they called a timeout, but he came right back in there, man, threw a touchdown, and then didn't miss a beat. So again, some of these coaches may look at it now and say, hey, the Jets job might not be so bad after all, to get in there and have a guy like that you can build off of. I personally don't think I'm not a huge fan of that style of play. For the quarterbacks, I think we still see guys come back to just being really good pocket passers.
Yeah.
I mean, again, he was very accurate yesterday. I hate to admit this, but I probably have to do a little more homework on him. But I mean, he looked good. He looked
Yeah.
good. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes for them in the national championship game there. But before we go to that, let's get some predictions on some of these games for tomorrow, and kind of wrap up the
Rapid
NFL and what we have in there. So I'll throw some games at you. You let me know what your thoughts are on them, and we'll just go right down the line. We'll start off with the Miami Buffalo game. They play tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Buffalo doesn't have a whole bunch that they're playing for, as far as I know. I think they're going to rest some guys. Where do you see that game going?
I think Buffalo is going to win that game. I think that is probably going to be one of the best games tomorrow. Believe it or not, I think when you're in that position, 12-3 playing a 10-5, you still are kind of wanting to play. You're still kind of on that hype train where you don't want to lose it because you don't have the 1 seed. So you don't want to rest guys just for the sake of resting them. But at the same time, I think, like you said, I think maybe second half they're going to start sitting a couple more guys depending on what the score is. But
Right.
you still want to keep that momentum going into the playoffs. I think Buffalo is going to take that game, but it's going to be a good game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's going to be a fun game. If Buffalo comes out the way they did against New England, man, it's lights out. I mean, I think Buffalo is probably the closest team to have a shot at the Chiefs. I think that Diggs and Josh Allen love playing football together. Man, they whipped up on my guys last week. It was ugly. I knew they didn't have much of a shot, but I mean, it is what it is. I would love to see Miami do it because Brian Flores, I think, is coaching the heck out of that team. I was going to ask you about your thoughts on Coach of the Year and some of these other stuff, and we'll probably do that next week a little bit more when the season's over or sometime next week. But I think he's done a hell of a job with that team. It's going to be interesting for them though because they don't have that reliever like he called them out of the bullpen. No Fitzmagic for them. He's been ruled out, so it's going to be Tua, man. He's getting thrown to the fire and go do your thing, big guy. They brought you in with an early pick. This is your time to shine. He did it for Alabama and that championship game. Now it's his opportunity to come out here and show it for Miami and show those fans what they brought him in for. So that game. So we both have Buffalo on that one. I think we have Cincinnati and Baltimore playing. Obviously, Cincinnati's not playing for anything, but Baltimore is trying to get in. I think that one's pretty easy. I'm sure you're going with Baltimore
Yeah, I'm
as
going to
I
go
am.
with Baltimore on that one.
Okay. We have Pittsburgh-Cleveland. Interesting game there. Like we touched about Cleveland, even though they are at home, they have been battling through the COVID stuff. Pittsburgh has already said that they're not going to play a bunch of their guys. They're going to have their backup quarterback in there. They're going to sit a couple other guys. Interesting to see what's going to happen there. What's your pick on there?
I'm curious. I'm curious about that because, and that's only because Buffalo and Pittsburgh are still playing for that 2-3 seed. I mean, they're both tied.
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo's right now sitting in the 2 seed. Why you would? I don't. It's almost like Pittsburgh would rather play Baltimore than Cleveland in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because right now, that's what it's going to come down to. I think Pittsburgh, Buffalo, whoever wins, if one wins, one loses. One's going to play Cleveland, one's going to play Baltimore.
Yeah.
So it's really that's a toss up. I do think Pittsburgh is gonna win that game, but I don't know, man. Cleveland's running game is so good. They could very well, the way Pittsburgh plays is throw, 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 and Cleveland is kind of the complete opposite. I think if Cleveland could control the clock, they very well could beat Pittsburgh, and I think they could expose Pittsburgh. And realistically, you could see Pittsburgh and Cleveland playing back-to-back weeks in the playoffs.
Yeah. I too think it's gonna be a real interesting game there. It was a little bit of a shock to me that Pittsburgh just so nonchalant decided, hey, we're just gonna sit guys because, like you said, they still have something to play for there. But even with them sitting guys, I think it's going to be kind of I think it'll be a tight game.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I'm going to go with Cleveland in that game just because they have to have it, and they're at home, so they have a lot to play for. There's really no reason for them not to bring the energy and not to bring the boom with them tomorrow. So we'll see what happens on that front. But I have Cleveland on that game. Minnesota, Detroit. Minnesota is still playing. Are they still not playing? I believe they are still playing for something. Are they?
No, they're
They
pretty
are
much out of it.
They are out. Yeah, they're done. So that game doesn't matter. New England and New York. Oh my God. Pains me to say it, but I think the Jets will beat the Patriots tomorrow. All right, your game, bud. Dallas and New York. What do you see your Cowboys doing tomorrow, and are they going to get in?
I'm sticking with, like I said, I'm sticking with my prediction. Dallas wins the last 4 games of the season. I think they're going to beat the Giants. I think Dallas knows they have to win this game. I think their defense has really stepped up the last few weeks. I think their offense is starting to tick. I think Andy Dalton's kind of getting his feet under him now, and it's really just if they can get control early, no mistakes, take control of that game, and put themselves in position to get into the playoffs.
Yeah. I also think that Dallas is going to win, even though they're playing in New York. I just think that as a team, I think they're better prepared for it. The funny thing is, again, they can win this game and still not make it, but I do think that they are going to win, and then just make it interesting for the rest of the day, because the Washington game and Philly has been flexed to the 8:20 and Sunday Night Football spot. So, they're going to have to sit around and wait for a while, but at least they get to watch the game. And to see what happens there. So both of us have Dallas there. We got Atlanta at Tampa. Tampa's already in.
I'm gonna take Tampa on that one.
Yeah, I think Tampa handles their business there. And then we got Chicago and Green Bay. That's an interesting one. That's the start of the 4:00 games. Chicago's playing for something. They're trying to get in. They're trying to work their way into the playoffs still. A lot to play for. And again, Green Bay has something to play for. I think Chicago and all those fans are probably wishing and hoping that Green Bay had that thing locked up so they could start resting some guys, but they don't. So they're going to have to bring their guns out there. As far as I know, everybody's playing. So who do you have in that game?
I am putting all of my chips onto the league MVP, Aaron Rodgers, my pick for MVP. This is where he shines. This is where Aaron shows up. I don't think he is going to let his team down. I don't think he's going to let the city down. This is going to be an awesome game, but Aaron Rodgers, he's not going to be playing around tomorrow. I just do not see them losing that game.
All right. Even with the game being in Chicago and Chicago having as much to play for, doesn't matter.
I've been to Chicago.
It doesn't matter. Okay. I say all that to say I agree with you. I think Green Bay is going to head in there and beat them up. They keep finding these running backs. I tell you, man. One guy goes down and the next guy comes in there. They had their one of their backups come in last week and he ran it well. So I think Green Bay takes care of business even on the road. I think they're going to have. They have an opportunity to knock out a division opponent, and they're going to take full advantage of that. I think that they are going to win that game. Then Vegas and Denver, that game means nothing.
Vegas takes that one.
Okay.
Darren Waller all day. He might have 300 yards receiving tomorrow.
Darren Waller. I mean, that guy's been playing awesome, man.
Comeback player of the year.
It's going to be interesting. Where do we draft him next year in our fantasy football draft?
He's got to go high. He's got to go second round.
And then we have Jacksonville and the Colts playing at 4:30 as well, 4:25. Now
I'm taking Jacksonville in that game, by the way.
You think so?
Yes.
I think you know what? It wouldn't surprise me.
I just want to spice up the draft. I want to see what's going on.
They have the number 1 pick locked up,
and
it can't get any worse for them. But the only thing that they can do that they'll probably have fun with is, hey, we'll knock out the Colts.
Yeah.
So why not? Shoot, I mean, get in there and knock those boys out.
That would be awesome.
It would be, and it's in Indianapolis too, so it would be something to see there. So are you gonna go with the Jags?
I'm taking Jacksonville in that game.
You are taking
I'm
Jacksonville.
taking
Wow.
Jacksonville. I'm telling you. I got a feeling. This is one of them things. It's just one of them things.
Who's starting for them tomorrow? Is it the Minshew Mania or
I don't know. No,
they
they
they probably don't know.
I don't think they even know who their starter is tomorrow. Because I was thinking about it, and I'm like, who? I don't even know who their team is anymore. These guys are. I mean,
Yeah. Hey, whomever runs out of the locker room first, you get snaps.
Yeah,
Bud.
they do paper rock scissors before kickoff to figure out who the
Yeah.
quarterback is.
Yeah, I'm going to defer with you though. I am going to go safe and take the Colts. I think that they take care of business at home. But I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised if Jacksonville pulls it off. But then you have the rookie of the year, in my eyes, at least the offensive rookie of the year, Herbert and the Chargers going up against the Chiefs. The Chiefs, I don't think, are playing for anything. I think they're resting everybody, are they not? I don't think Mahomes
Tennessee's
is
going to
playing.
win that game. I think AJ Brown's been struggling the last couple of weeks.
Well, this is Chargers and Chiefs.
Okay, let's switch that then. Sorry.
Yeah. It's all right.
I was looking at Tennessee, Houston.
We will get there.
I mean, Kansas City's got nothing to play for. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Chargers win. I think the Chiefs are going to win, but if the Chargers win, I wouldn't bat an eye at it.
Yeah. I mean, shoot, who's the backup in Kansas City? Their quarterback.
That's what I'm curious. Who's even going to play? Like, who's even going to start for the Chiefs? Because
I believe that Mahomes is going to be out. I don't think he's going to play. I think Andy Reid has already said that.
Sit Tyreek Hill, sit Kelsey. I mean,
right. Why not? Give them a couple weeks to get back to 100%.
Yeah, they've got Chad Henne at quarterback.
Serviceable.
Your backups. You've got Chad Henne and Le'Veon Bell. I mean, you're talking 5 years ago. This is a solid 1-2 in fantasy, dude. I mean, this is where I think they're gonna sit. I think they're gonna sit Tyreek Hill. I think this is where they're gonna let Mecole Hardman, Demarcus Robinson, maybe Sammy Watkins get in there and kind of just have fun. Go out there and this is gonna be playing out in the street game. Like, it doesn't matter. Run out to the light pole, turn around, and that they're not going to risk anything happening to their big three.
Yeah, they'll let other coaches, put the headset on and say, call plays. What do you want to run? Get out there and just have some fun.
Yeah.
With all that being said, I'm still going to go with the Chiefs. They're at home.
Yeah.
I think they're that good. I think they're well coached. So even with the offensive rookie of the year and Herbert playing out there, I think they still lose. I think Kansas City still takes care of business there. That game doesn't really have much of anything for tomorrow, but then you have a very, very, very interesting matchup. Arizona at Los Angeles Rams. Again, I'll lay it all out for you. No Cooper Kupp. They've lost their quarterback, Jared Goff. He's out. It's going to be interesting, man. Their quarterback still has a LinkedIn profile, the last I saw. So
I thought their backup quarterback was a country singer when I saw his name. I was like, John Wolford. I'm like, I played softball against this guy, I think, one time. Man, it's tough. I think the Rams, they do have a solid team even without Cooper Kupp and without Jared Goff. But there's a reason Jared Goff was the high pick and was their guy and has been their guy. Arizona's going to take this game, and I'm pretty sure. I don't know. It's going to depend. I think if Blake Bortles starts for the Rams, there's a good possibility we could see some magic. Okay, coming out of Oviedo, Florida. Okay, UCF Knight. I mean, just a local legend in our neck of the woods. Blake Bortles could end up coming through and salvaging something here and potentially saving the Rams season.
Hey, I like to see it. And I tell you who else should like to see it and should pay attention? Dwayne Haskins. Like I said last week.
Yeah.
I compared the two there. He's stayed, free and clear of any wrongdoings, and he's had several opportunities. So maybe he gets a shot tomorrow, man, and he can show some stuff, and maybe he can get a job again for next season. I am going to go with Arizona in this game as well. I think Kyler Murray is gonna run the crap out of the ball. I think they're going to be all over the place. I think Hopkins is going to have a big game. Now, the game changer there, it's obviously going to be that Rams defense.
Yeah.
They can wreck a game, really easily. So we'll see how that goes. But I pick Arizona as well. I think that they're gonna win that game, and I believe the winner of that one is win and get in. So definitely something to look forward to there. But again, Arizona for me and Arizona for you.
I'm going to take Arizona, but if Bortles starts, be ready to see some fireworks. That's all I'm saying.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Well, then we got Seattle at San Francisco. Nothing for San Fran to play for there, but Seattle's still playing for a number one seed. I I think Seattle in this game, even though it's in
Yeah.
San Fran. Are they even playing in San Fran? I mean, are they back over there? I thought they were playing the rest of their games over in Arizona.
I don't know. I don't know where any of the teams that aren't allowed to play at their teams. I don't know. These guys are playing in like rec league stadiums that are you know built for the Olympics in 10 years. I don't know where they're playing. I don't think it matters. With no fans, I don't think it matters.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I still have Seattle. I mean, I'm sure
Yeah,
you're going
Seattle's
with
going to
Seattle
take
as
that game.
well.
I think it's going to be nice. I think George Kittle's going to come back stronger than he did last week. But yeah, Seattle's just a whole nother animal.
Okay, yeah, I agree. I'm a huge fan of Russell Wilson. I think he's going to take care of business. No problems there. Then you have New Orleans playing Carolina. Again, I'll lay that one out for you. Carolina has nothing to play for, but they are at home. And New Orleans is playing with no running backs
Yeah.
other than Taysom Hill. I'm sure will line up back there and get a bunch of handoffs. And then they have one of their practice squad guys is coming up to handle some of the load as well. I still think New Orleans handles their business there and hopes and prays for a Green Bay loss. Um, but like we picked earlier, I think Green Bay is going to handle their business, so we'll end up with New Orleans at number 2. But I do think that they're going to win that game.
Yeah, I think New Orleans takes the win. I think it's still Drew Brees is still going to be Drew Brees. It doesn't matter who you throw back there. The fact of the matter is that Drew Brees is going to keep the guys out of the box, and I think Taysom Hill, maybe some fullbacks get in there and do some work. And you got to remember too, they've got wide receivers that are speedster guys that can come out of the backfield, and I think you might see a lot of that too. But Drew Brees is going to throw the ball 60 times probably tomorrow just to make up for the fact that they don't have Latavius Murray and Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, yeah, and it's crazy because after a 6 touchdown game by Alvin Kamara, man, that was wild.
Yeah.
And now he won't be able to touch the ball there. And it would be interesting to see how he comes out of this because some guys that have had COVID in the NFL, even though these guys are such well conditioned athletes, have struggled a little bit getting back. So be interesting to see what symptoms he has and how he comes of it for the playoffs. But I do take New Orleans in this game, and then we go to Tennessee and Houston. Tennessee has something to play for. Houston doesn't have anything to play for. The interesting thing about Houston today is that they announced that they're hiring Sarkisian, is the offensive coordinator in Alabama, one of their coaches. He's coming to be their coach next year, which I don't know how you feel about these college guys coming in. I mean, sure, I guess it works for them. I don't know how much power they're giving him. But as far as this game is concerned, I think Tennessee's going to handle their business, even though they're going to Houston. I don't see them losing this game. I think that Houston is a little banged up, and I think that Tennessee has a lot to play for. So I see Houston take care of this, or Tennessee taking care of business there.
Definitely. Tennessee's going to take that game.
All right. And then the last one, bud. It's the fun one, the one that you need. So tomorrow you wear your Eagles jersey proudly, I'm sure.
I think I might have a Deion Sanders Ravens jersey. That's about as close as we can get to Philly.
So Washington goes to Philadelphia to play the Eagles. Interesting game there. Philly has nothing to play for other than pride and to try to get their guys rolling over there, try to get Jalen Hurts a little bit more experience. But Washington has a lot to play for, playing with a backup quarterback tomorrow as well. I don't think that Alex Smith is ready to go yet, so it might be Heineke going again. Maybe he can celebrate with a couple Heineken after that game because I'm going to go Washington in this game. As much as I like to see your Cowboys get in there, I think that Washington's going to take care of business. I like Ron Rivera and what he does. I just think, with an opportunity to get in there, they have a good defense. Going to keep the game close, and at the end, I think they'll pull it off.
I think they've got like you said, Alex Smith banged up, who probably won't play. Antonio Gibson's got a toe right now. Terry McLaurin is banged up too. All the pieces are in place for Philly to win this game.
That's why they'll lose.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they will lose. I think they might lose just to spite Dallas, just to know that if Dallas wins, Philly will lose the game on purpose. That is my prediction. Because Philly, there's no reason Philly should not win this game. I can't. I don't know, man. They gotta do something. They gotta do something. I mean, Miles Sanders is out, which is a big hit with them, and I
Not
think
surprising, by the way. Not surprising. That kid has all the talent in the world, just can't seem to stay on the field. I know because he was on my fantasy team, and gosh, he hurt me quite a bit this year. But if he can get on the field, I mean, he's demonstrated some flashes of brilliance on there. He just can't seem to stay on there. So so I have Washington, and you're going with Philly.
I'm taking Philly. I'm taking Philly despite all the injuries they have. I think I'm going to take Philly.
Okay, all right. I mean, that's the rundown.
I have to take Philly.
I know you do. For your prediction to work.
Yeah.
They can't just go 4-0, Dallas. They have to go 4-0 and make the playoffs. That was the prediction.
Yeah.
So, all right. So that's the rundown of all the games for tomorrow. It's gonna be fun to watch those. I want to bring our attention over to the SmackDowns that we saw yesterday. Not competitive at all. One game I expected it. I think everybody did. I think last week when we spoke, everybody on our chat here was talking up Bama, and somebody said I think they're going to hang 45, like a 45 point.
I said 52.
I mean, I don't think that game was close at all at any time. I don't know what Notre Dame is going to do. They just cannot seem to compete when they get into these games. I think they showed the graphic yesterday during the broadcast. They've lost every time they had an opportunity to get in, whether it be the BCS or with this new system. Yeah. They've gotten whipped up pretty damn good, man. What do you do if you're Notre Dame?
You don't. You just take it. I mean, Notre Dame knew it was going to happen. Notre Dame fans knew it was going to happen. I mean, coming out of the gate, I mean, Bama going up 14-0 against you in the first quarter. Mac Jones and Devontae Smith, as usual, just unstoppable. There's a reason Devontae Smith was nominated AP. I think it was AP Player of the Year.
Player of the Year, yeah.
And as a wide receiver, that is rare. That is rare to see.
Yeah.
But that guy is on another level. I think he had 3 touchdowns that game. And it was it wasn't anything crazy to watch. Again, Najee Harris, 125 yards on 15 rushes, and one of those was a 53-yarder. So it's clear cut who the go-to is on Alabama's team. The question is can you shut down Alabama's offense? Mac Jones is a great quarterback. There's a reason him and Devontae Smith are both in the runnings for the Heisman. And honestly, right now I think it's just the two of them. I think it's going to come down to those two. I think Trevor Lawrence, when we get into that, kind of showed that why it's not there. It's not there.
Yeah. Yeah. And the Alabama running back yesterday, man, Hurtling. That was wild.
Yeah,
that was wild.
He's doing the Zeke impression.
Man, it was cool to watch. But by the same token, I don't know how people feel out there, but I watched that game knowing exactly what was going to happen and kind of feeling sad for college football because, you want teams to compete.
Yeah.
To sit there and to watch a game knowing exactly what was going to happen. I think I saw a video somebody posted on Twitter where it was an older lady, a fan of Notre Dame, that when they were announcing all the games and the matchups, and they put Notre Dame up against Alabama, she just put her hands and her head in her hands. Just, no.
That's all you can do. That's all you can do.
I mean, she knew right away. They had to take the field. So. That was a beatdown. But the one that really caught me off guard was that second game, man. I did not expect Ohio State to go out there and whip up on Clemson the way they did. I mean, I mean, I guess I knew that they could beat them. I really didn't want them to win because, like I mentioned before, I don't think they should be there. But I think they shut up Dabo Sweeney for voting them number 11 on the polls.
Yeah.
They went out there and just smacked them every time that Clemson tried to do something coming back. They had an answer,
Yeah.
and Clemson just never looked like they had a shot. I don't know how you felt watching the game, but I watched it thinking, I mean, clearly the better team is Ohio State. As far as they had their foot on the throat from the very beginning, and Ohio State was reeling, or Clemson was reeling right from the get, and just could never get going.
Yeah, I think the first quarter was good football. I think it was 14-14 going into the second, with Ohio State scoring with about 2 minutes left in the first, and then the second quarter, Justin Fields throws 3 more touchdowns, and after that, that was the end of the game. I mean, for those of you that stayed and watched the full game, I watched all the way up to the beginning of the fourth quarter and had enough. By the time it was 42-21, and seeing the way things were going, the way Trevor Lawrence was he was forced into a position where he had to throw 48 times, and I don't think it was anything wrong on his part, but at the same time, I think it was just a different play style. We'll put it that way. The way Ohio State played, I think, Trey Sermon's numbers, 31 rushes, 193 yards, those numbers don't really translate into how impactful he was the first half, because he didn't have that many rushes in the first half. A lot of those he picked up in the second half, but he was controlling every run he had. I mean, averaging 6.2 yards a rush on 31 rushes is pretty impressive. And Justin Fields, like you said, I think Justin Fields was a good quarterback going into this year. Everyone thought, and I think now they're opening their eyes and saying this guy's great. This is one of those quarterbacks where you say he can do everything. He can run the ball.
Yeah.
He can throw the ball. He's got the deep throws. He's got the poise. He can control, and he doesn't back down. When you're going up against a Trevor Lawrence, and the thing is going into this year, you could have changed Clemson's mascot to Trevor Lawrence. That was the hype that he had on his shoulders. And I think that he did what he needed to do. I think that game knocked him out of the Heisman running 100%.
Yeah, and I think going into the season, like you said, he was hyped up as far as Justin Fields, but I think there was question that there wasn't a question about Trevor Lawrence going number one, but I think people thought, well, is Justin Fields really going to be the number two guy, or is he going to slip down a little bit? Maybe somebody else grabs him, but I don't think there's a question now. I don't see the Jets going anywhere else now. I mean, I think you see an opportunity now, like I said before, for them to grab a guy like Justin Fields and to use Sam Darnold as somewhat of bait to try to get something back and to build that team up. But yeah, he came out there yesterday and he was slinging the ball left and right. A bit surprising for me. Even like you said, even though when it was 14-14 after the first quarter, I still felt like Clemson they didn't feel right. It didn't feel like Clemson. It's like at any point the wheels can fall off this thing, and they did. And that's, what I mean? Like every time they had the ball, it's like, I have to do something. I didn't feel like that way when Ohio State had the ball.
Right.
They punt, you felt like, all right, yeah. I mean, they'll play some defense, get the ball back and move on. And when Clemson didn't score, it's like, oh man, it's another blown opportunity. They're just not, they can't keep up with these guys. And then Trevor Lawrence put the ball on the ground several times. Like you said, he was put in kind of a weird situation, something that he's not accustomed to, but I think that kind of shows you a little bit too. When you look at the comparison between the two guys, he was put in a position that he hasn't typically been in, and he didn't necessarily look great. Justin Fields goes out there, he gets popped hard, and still comes back from that and shows some grit and is able to compete at a high level and pull off a win. So it'll be interesting to see what happens now with the championship game, because now you have two very similar teams, the way they're built as far as, tough, rugged teams. I know we'll probably talk about that as the week goes on. But yeah, it was a bit of a shocker to me and a little bit sad to see two games that are supposed to, it's like watching an AFC championship game and an NFC championship game, both of them being huge blowouts, and you go, right, man, that just kind of sucks, So I think the NCAA, I'm sure they're trying to figure out what they can do to make it a little bit better. So we'll see
And I
where that
think
goes moving forward.
I think we both owe Ohio State an apology. I think you and I had many a conversation about the whole 5-win rule and them getting into the championships and having the opportunity to get in playoffs and stuff. They proved everybody. They proved all the naysayers wrong yesterday. I was still skeptical when they played Northwestern, um, but I think they opened some eyes yesterday that they are the second best team in the league, hands down. I think for Clemson to be able to blow out Notre Dame the way they did, and for Ohio State to blow out Clemson the way they did, I don't think this was one of those fluke games for Clemson where they just didn't show up. I think they were outplayed the entire game, regardless of what the first quarter looked like. Um, they were outplayed by better players.
Yeah, yeah. I just hated to see it because I like you said, we do owe them an apology. I just, for me, it wasn't much about doubting them as a good team. I knew they have some players, and I know they're a
You're a
good football
rules guy.
team.
You're a
I'm
rules
more
guy.
of a yeah, it's like if you
I
if
get
you
it.
have stuff in place, kind of abide by it. I mean,
Yeah.
why are you bending the rules for other teams? I don't know, but
But if that
it'll
had
be
happened, that would have put either Texas A&M or Florida in there against potentially. It would have probably put them against Alabama rather than. I would have probably rather seen Florida play Alabama again than see Notre Dame play them because everyone knew what was going to happen that game.
yeah, yeah. And I think maybe Notre Dame would have probably had a little bit of a better shot against Clemson, even though they got whipped the last time
Yeah,
they played. But
yeah,
yeah, I think a system that needs to be looked at because not they were a broken record when we talked about it a million times, but still, I think it's a system that caters to these teams, and obviously some of these guys are going to want to go play. Why would you go play anywhere else, Tim, if you don't have a shot of playing for a national championship?
yeah,
You know what I mean? It's like, what's the point? So, even if you are thinking about going somewhere else, you're going to go, you're going to want to go to Alabama, go to Clemson, go to Ohio State because you have an opportunity to play
yeah.
for a national championship. So we'll see how that goes. We do have a final in Orlando. Not what we wanted. We do want to touch on the Orlando Magic a little bit because they have started off pretty well. They started off 4-0 for the first time in franchise history,
Yep.
and now they've lost 2 in a row. They lost tonight to
Yep.
OKC. They took the L. They have been banged up, so in their defense, I will say that. But it looks like they did lose tonight. They did get Terrence Ross back into the lineup,
Yeah, 26
and
points tonight.
yeah, he looked pretty good. It didn't look like any lingering effects from his injury, but they lost Chuma Okeke, their rookie, to a knee injury. They have Evan Fournier not playing tonight. He's banged up. You said Terrence Ross coming back tonight, but he was banged up a little bit. So unfortunately, the injury bug has definitely hit the team there. But nonetheless, 4-2 still to start the season, not bad. Team looks pretty good. I'm excited about the young talent, and I'm excited about some of the things that we can hopefully work through with the Magic coming soon. Maybe this season, we'll get down to a couple games, get some good pictures, videos, and whatnot out there. So I know you're not a huge basketball fan, but what are your thoughts on the Magic? Have you had what are you thinking about these young guys?
I've been keeping track on them. I've been looking at them. I think Vooch is still clearly the star in Orlando. I think his numbers show it. I think his minutes show it. But I think these guys, I think they're starting to get this core thing going where now they've been together for a little bit. And now they're kind of starting to work together, and you can see that I'm almost glad they lost. I think sometimes when you're a team that's fairly young, and you don't have that veteran presence on your team to kind of guide you, that this kind of puts you back on track. Because when you're 4-0, you're flying high. We can't be touched. We're the best team in the league. And then you lose one, and you kind of like, okay, well, we're 4-1, we're still, and then you lose another one, and now you've got to kind of refocus. What have
Yeah,
we been doing? And like you said, I think the injuries are definitely there, but I think they've got to get a little deeper still on their bench. To where if they do have this one guy out or two guys out, that they can still recover. I still think they were competitive tonight. They only lost by 9 points.
yeah,
No big numbers coming out of Oklahoma City. Darius Bazley had a double-double, but that was about it. I'm excited about Orlando basketball. I'm not super excited, but I'm excited. I think they've got the talent, and I'm excited to go and see these guys. I think once we get the opportunity to get in there and kind of see what they can do and get our hands dirty when it comes to this. But like you said, I think the injuries are one of the things that kind of cost them the last two games.
Yeah, yeah. I think if healthy, I think they're a team that competes. The East is very top heavy, so they have an opportunity to make a little bit of noise. You have teams like um, the Wizards, who are oddly enough they're winless. They just can't seem to get it into gear, but they're competing well. I like what I see out of the young guys, out of the rookies. I think Cole Anthony has demonstrated
Yeah,
he's NBA ready, and he's getting in there and doing his thing. And I love seeing Markel Fultz play.
yeah.
Um, he's had I think a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. And I know that he actually had some issues with his shoulder, but he's playing well. And I think he notices, and obviously he knows that you have a young guy like Cole Anthony, who was selected early. Granted, he was a number one pick, but still, a guy that is trying to get back to his old form and show guys that he can ball in the NBA. And so far, man, I just like watching him play, and I think he's like you said, Vooch is still somewhat of the MVP on the team, and he has such a good connection with him.
Mhm.
It's just fun to see those guys get out there and run a little bit. And I love what Steve Clifford, man, that coach. I'll be honest with you. I don't even know if we've had this conversation in the past. I did not like when they brought him on originally a couple years ago. I thought they could have done better, but it's what they needed. They needed a guy like that to get in there, whip those guys into shape, and just get some really good structure in there. I still think they can make some moves. I still think that they have some guys that they can move. I'm not sure what I think about Aaron Gordon. I know that he's kind of working through some stuff. Coming from the preseason, he had some injuries that he's still trying to get back into. He's on a minutes restriction, but I don't know, man. I feel like they can go out there and get a little package and get a veteran guy that's maybe even a star that is, on the last year of a deal, kind of rent a guy that can teach these young guys, Markel Fultz, Cole Anthony, how to be superstars.
Yeah.
I know we've had the conversation before. Victor Oladipo said as much when he left here. He said, "I loved Orlando, but I wouldn't be the player that I am today if I didn't play with Russell Westbrook in OKC for that 1 year."
Mhm.
And I think Orlando needs a guy, since nobody will willingly come here apparently, to trade for a guy that will teach that young core how to be pros, how to be stars in the league, night in and night out. And I think that'll serve them well.
I agree, 100%. Um, I think, like you said, I think it's still early in the season, um, so a lot of this can change, within a 1 week span where
Mm-hmm.
we could drop down to last, um, but I think the first goal is to control the Southeast and get up there to where you can, hopefully either. The weird thing in the NBA, it's almost like you got to play for a top pick or you've got to play for the playoffs for a championship.
Yeah,
It's
you don't
kind of
want to
one
be
or
in the
the
middle.
other. You don't want to be in the
Yeah,
middle.
yeah,
Um, but Orlando, I mean, with who was it? I think Indiana lost tonight. Philly won. So Orlando's still sitting, second or third right now in the conference. They're still
hmm
looking good. I think the East is, like you said, I think the East is very top heavy to where it allows some of these other teams to kind of get in there and find that 6, 7, 8 spot and have an opportunity to make some moves.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like you said, it's early. I agree with that. I just think that they need to be a little bit more aggressive on the moves that they're making. You know, to try to get some guys in here. It's been a couple of years now with about the same team, and I think that's actually served them well this year. Is that with kind of a weird offseason and the way things are, them bringing back pretty much the whole team with the really just adding Okiki, who they drafted last year and just kind of stashed them,
Hmm.
and then adding Cole Anthony. Other than that, they're bringing in the same group of guys, and I think that served them well in the beginning of this year, just to that continuity with those guys to be able to get out there and play. But a fast start to the beginning of the year is definitely something that's going to help them out. But some surprise teams up there. I mean, you got Cleveland at 3-2. I don't think anybody thinks Cleveland's going to sustain that. And then you have some surprises. You have Miami at 2-3, Milwaukee at 3-3. Just some teams that are not kind of getting it together early on. Even Brooklyn at 3-3. It's kind of a shocker to me. But still early on. I think we'll start seeing some teams. By the end of this month, you'll start seeing some teams really kicking into gear and kind of shaping up. So it'd be interesting to follow, but we definitely want to hit up the Magic and kind of do the local thing here since we are in Orlando and follow them and then we'll have some Orlando City stuff coming up here in the next month and a half or so when they kick their preseason up. So we'll be tracking these guys and hopefully bringing you some stuff from here from our local teams and keep you guys informed on all that.
And we need more Mo Bamba.
Mo Bamba.
We need more Mo Bamba.
Believe it? He was supposed to play, man, and I guess he did a 2-on-2 drill, got hit in the head, and they're like, "Oh, you can't play now."
Well, the problem is he hit his head on the jumbotron in the middle of the thing. He's so 7 feet tall.
The guy's enormous, man, and he's pretty damn good when he's out there. But Ken Burch is killing it right now for him, so he's gonna have to work for that spot. He's gonna have to work. So we'll see.
It's gonna be interesting.
We'll see. We'll see what happens with all that. So, but I mean, a little bit of a side note that I'll throw out there. I know boxing was on today. It was an early start on the Zone.
Okay.
King Ryan Garcia was fighting today against Luke Campbell. He's a guy that Garcia is that I am keeping my eye on. Man, the kid is awesome. He is 21-0 now, and with 18 knockouts. And he did win by knockout today. 7th round knockout for Ryan Garcia. But he did, for the first time, I believe, in his career, in the second round, got put on his behind.
Oh, okay.
He got clobbered. But he came back resilient, and he did kind of the unsexy thing in boxing. But for any real boxing fan out there will know that this is much more impressive than a headshot knockout. He knocked out Luke Campbell with a body shot.
That means he broke something.
Oh yeah. When guys go down and they have a hard time, I think it was De La Hoya one time when he lost to Bernard Hopkins. He said it's one of those deals where you're clear as day. It's not like getting knocked in the head where you're like loopy and trying to figure things out. When you get hit in the body like that, that's the frustrating part is that you want to get up and you're fine, but you can't breathe. So you're like paralyzed and you can't move, and that's what happened to Luke Campbell. He got hit on the right side. He took a step back and then he went to a knee, and then he dropped to both knees, and then he was pounding the mat like, "Damn it! I know I can get up." But he got counted out, and Ryan Garcia got the win. So an impressive start for him to start off the year. He's a young dude too, man. I think he's like 20, 21, somewhere in there. The young ladies love that kid. So
see, I get excited. I don't watch a lot of boxing, but Canelo Alvarez is my guy. Okay,
they're boys.
Listen, but he's not my boy. Okay, he might be Canelo's boy, but he's not my boy. Until we're both boys and we meet together, then he could be my boy. But
okay,
with Canelo's trying to do 3 fights next year.
Hey man,
he's got one coming up in February.
Trying to bring that money in.
I'm telling you, strike while the iron's hot. And this guy, I mean, like you said, I think time is going to be his biggest opponent. I think, he's got to get it in while he can.
I don't know that he has anybody to fight. There's not a lot on the plate for him. I know that for Garcia there is. He wants to fight Davis, Tank Davis, and he had the knockout of the year last year. Davis did. So I think the guy that he knocked out. I think that guy's still sleeping. I don't know that he ever woke up. I mean, he got him with a sweet uppercut and took him out. But Garcia is this kid is awesome. Timmy, you gotta look him up, check him out. He's got the looks, he's got the moves. He was hyped up about getting put on his ass today, which is kind of weird, but I guess that twisted mentality is what's going to make him great. But I think he'll learn from today. He wants to fight Manny Pacquiao, he said. He wants to fight Tank Davis next, and then he wants to fight Manny Pacquiao. How about that?
When's the
young
last
man
time Manny
calling out
Pacquiao hasn't
Manny
fought since like
Pacquiao.
2010? Who cares about Manny Pacquiao anymore? Isn't he a cheater anyways? Wasn't he juicing or something?
No, not Manny.
Nobody cares about Manny Pacquiao. He had his chance. He had his
I
chance
love
to
Manny
shine,
Pacquiao.
and he didn't. He couldn't do it.
Yeah, I was. He did. You're right. He had his opportunity to shine. He should beat the crap out of. I almost cussed. Out of Mayweather. I really
God, I
wanted that
wanted
so
him.
bad.
That's one of the few matches I think I've watched with you. And I was
Golly, I
like,
wanted him
this
to
is
put him
why I
on
don't
his
like
behind.
boxing. It's like watching
Yeah.
soccer. I'm like, they're just dancing around. Nobody's punching anybody. What are they doing?
Oh, he might get punched more by one of those the YouTuber. What's his name? The Paul
Jake
brothers
Paul.
there.
I hope
From
Jake
what is it?
Paul's going
February.
in. Yeah, or Logan
Oh
Paul.
man, I hope he puts his head down and just swings for the fences and just lands one. You know?
It only takes one. It only takes one.
Oh man, I hope that happens. I hope that so bad. But
Okay, so I've got one for you. We're gonna do a quick run here,
switcheroo.
and
All right.
I want to get your Mount Rushmore here. We're
Ooh,
going
I like the Mount
last
Rushmore.
week. Last week we did football. We did so this week we're gonna go basketball. NBA starting lineup, live or dead, doesn't matter.
Okay. Yikes. That's a tough one because there's one particular spot that I have. My favorite all-time player plays the same spot as another great that I would love to have.
Okay.
On
So
the
we'll
team
go.
as well.
So we'll start in position here. Let's go. Let's go
But the
center.
NBA is positionless now, Tim.
That's
the
true.
beauty
No,
of it.
we don't need to. You don't need to go strictly by what they were listed as.
Okay. Well, I mean,
unless you stack like a bunch of centers on a team. Obviously, that's your team. You're probably gonna lose. But
my power forward, regardless if this is a positionless league, is going to be Tim Duncan. I am a huge fan of Tim Duncan. The fact that the guy was so quiet and did his thing, absolutely murdered everybody, and then he stayed with one team his whole career.
Yeah,
which I'm always a fan of. So Tim Duncan is definitely one of my guys. Kobe Bryant is another one of my guys.
So where are you putting him though? Where are you putting him?
That's the conundrum. Is because my favorite all-time player is Tracy McGrady.
Okay.
So
you're when we're talking. You're going up against your team is going up against the greatest teams ever built. Alive or dead doesn't matter. You're putting Tracy McGrady on your team.
Let me tell you something, bud. All right, they asked Kobe Bryant, who was an awesome defender. They asked Kobe Bryant who the toughest person for him to guard and to play against in his whole career, start to finish, and he said it was Tracy McGrady.
Okay.
Tracy McGrady, we ruined him here in Orlando, unfortunately, because he just didn't have much help, and it was supposed to be him and Grant Hill doing their thing. Unfortunately, Grant Hill couldn't get back, to full strength, so he ended up having to put that team on his back, and it killed him. But literally, I mean, his back went out. But Tracy McGrady in his day, man, was freaking amazing. I mean, he wasn't much of a. I mean, he was pretty good at defense, but he was no Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan or any of those guys. But man, when Tracy McGrady was going, I remember watching him against the Bulls, put 62 points up by the end of the third quarter, and then they pulled him. And I'm like, you're like on a 22 game losing streak, and your best player just put up 62 in 3 quarters. Who cares that you're getting smoked by the Bulls?
Yeah,
Leave him there. Let him put up 100. I mean, at least somebody will talk about you. But Tracy McGrady's my guy.
I'll respect it. So what do we got so far? We got T-Mac?
We got T-Mac and Tim Duncan.
Okay.
Those are my guys.
T-Mac at shooting guard. Tim Duncan at power forward.
The problem is that I love Jordan, right? And then I also love Kobe Bryant.
Okay.
So, shoot, I may have to leave T-Mac out. Because you can run those guys in the backcourt, the 1 and the 2.
Yeah.
So tell you what, I'm gonna go. Caught me off guard here, man. And I love T-Mac, but I'm gonna have to leave him out because Kobe was Kobe, and Jordan was Jordan. So that's my backcourt. I got Tim Duncan at forward.
Okay.
I have a center. Oof.
So you're going Kobe and Jordan.
Kobe
with Tim
and
Duncan.
Jordan.
Okay.
With Tim Duncan. Big man. Man, should have let you go first.
I asked the question.
That's a tough one. I'm a big Shaq fan because he was doing his thing, and I guess I'm just kind of a prisoner of the time that I watch basketball in.
Yeah, obviously these are in their prime. In their prime, guys.
I wasn't the biggest basketball fan growing up, and even being up north with the Celtics, I just really wasn't a big basketball fan. But it wasn't until I came here and I became a Magic fan that I really started watching basketball. But I'm going to throw a curveball at this because I'm not going to go with Shaq because my favorite player growing up, believe it or not, was a big man, even though I'm not that large myself. But Kareem Hakeem Olajuwon was my favorite big man.
Okay. I respect that. I respect that at center.
My man, let me tell you, underrated as can be.
That guy had a finger that was this long. His index finger was this long.
He was awesome. I love Olajuwon.
Hakeem the Dream.
I tell you what, I played basketball growing up. I actually tried pulling off his moves. For whatever reason, even though I'm not big, I ended up in the post a lot, which is beyond me. But I just like, kind of beating guys up down there and I would kind of do the dirty Rodman plays and, kind of nut
jump and
people
kick
and stuff
at the
like
same
that.
time.
But yeah, man, I try to put his moves up. Olajuwon, Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, and I need one more. Ugh. Man.
What position are we at now? Where are you putting? Are you putting Jordan at point guard?
I'll let Jordan run the point.
Okay, Jordan's running point.
Jordan can run the point.
Kobe's playing shooting guard.
I have Olajuwon at the 5. At the 4, we got Tim Duncan. At the 3, man, this is where it gets a little tough.
Yeah, because you got to have that tweener guy. You don't want to have a 7'2" small forward.
I have come to respect this man. Recently, which is oddly what happened with Kobe. I hated Kobe in the beginning of his career. It wasn't towards the back end that I really started to really love Kobe. But I love this guy more off the court than I do on the court. It's going to pain me to say this, but I'm going to go LeBron James. Anybody that knows me will tell you that I am a LeBron hater on the court, but I have to say, the guy is awesome. He's a freight train. He can play any position, so that's why we could throw him at 3.
So you put the 3, arguably the 3 best players of all time on your team. And I will tell you right now that your team, you didn't have one player that I have on my top 5.
How about that?
Yeah.
How about that?
Because I'm playing to win, okay?
Because you're going to be a historian here. You're going to go to guys that...
I'm playing to win, okay?
In the Wayback Machine.
So, the one guy, you almost took Shaq, but I'm putting Shaq at the 5.
Okay.
One of the most dominant centers in history. And
Could my guy guard your guy?
That's the question.
Didn't it happen in the finals?
Yeah, that's fine, because guess who's in my 4? Bill Russell.
Oh, okay.
Bill Russell. Okay, probably the most prolific rebounders.
For every finger.
Probably one of the most prolific rebounders of all time. Okay, in my 3, small forward. Who was your small forward? You had LeBron.
I have LeBron.
I've got Larry Bird.
Larry Bird. Okay.
Larry Bird in the 3. Okay, and now my 2 and my 1. It doesn't matter. I don't even put the position on there. I give them the slash. The point guard / shooting guard is going to be Magic Johnson and Steph Curry. Okay, the greatest 3-point shooter in history.
Okay.
He's got great handles. And my 1 and 2, they have one job. You're either going to shoot the 3 if you're Steph, or you're going to pass the ball. That's it. I think my 5 could beat your 5. I think you're going to have. From a defensive standpoint, you guys aren't going down low against Bill Russell and Shaq. You're not going to do it.
I don't know, man. Tim Duncan.
He was my second favorite player of all time, and it pained me not to put John Stockton, my favorite player, on my team, but I had to play to win.
Okay. I still think we whip you. I
want to see that. I want to get NBA 2K to put that matchup together and see what would happen.
Okay. I think that the only guy that I would probably be a little bit afraid of would be the matchup of Shaq and Olajuwon. Even though it did happen in real life,
they might
Olajuwon
actually fight.
Came out on top.
Yeah, we might need to add a bench player to take over from there.
Yeah, we need to add that. The sixth man.
Yeah.
Which in my case, who would you put as your sixth man?
Sixth guy, you're talking utility player basically. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna probably go with Wilt Chamberlain. Because he can kind of do it all, you know.
Okay.
Wilt is still.
Well, I'm just gonna honor my guy and say I'm gonna throw T-Mac in there. What the heck?
I like T-Mac, and you know what? You know what's funny is notable mention. I would say the Iceman, George Gervin. Okay, the man who perfected the finger roll. I would probably throw him in there somewhere just because he has got one of the greatest nicknames in NBA history.
Yeah. It's Oh man, that's you threw some good names at me there, bud. You definitely did.
That was on a whim too, because I was thinking, man, we did top 5 NFL last week, and I was like, we got to do NBA, and I'm glad that we had 2 different styles, because I'm looking at your team, and I don't see a lot of assists. I don't see a lot of ball movement there.
What?
I'm just saying.
LeBron moves the ball. I mean, Jordan's gonna whip people.
LeBron's
into
not moving
shape.
the ball. He's not running point. Michael Jordan's running point. Kobe's running your 2. You got 2 guys that are going to shoot 80 times between the 2 of them.
I could move Kobe to the 3, LeBron to the 1, and Jordan at the 2. It doesn't matter. I mean, I think I don't know, man. That would be a good 2K battle.
We gotta get on Twitter. We gotta find somebody to put that up, and I want the YouTube video of it. I want him to record it. That would be sweet. We're gonna have to post that on our socials and see if somebody would do that for us.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. It's gonna be a youth versus older battle. I think that some of the folks that will enjoy your team are the guys that have that, basketball nostalgia, and then some of the younger guys will look at LeBron and Kobe and those guys and
Jordan.
But interesting. Well, that's the thing about Jordan. That's beautiful, right? That Jordan,
everyone loves Jordan.
Where you go with Jordan, everybody loves Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see. So we ran it down, my man. We ran down everything that we had on tap for today.
Awesome.
We wanted to jump on here today just to talk a little bit about the games for tomorrow, because we weren't sure if we were going to come on today, but we couldn't miss the opportunity to run those games down for tomorrow. So it'll be interesting. I think we'll come back early next week and really have the full playoff picture. We'll see if your Cowboys pulled it off, and we'll talk some NFL playoffs, and we'll see where our Magic stack up. I think they are off now for a couple of days, but still, we'll keep tabs on them. We'll keep tabs on our local teams here, but man, I'm excited for tomorrow to see what's going to happen. It's going to be crazy. I'm going to have Red Zone on. I'm going to have
fantasy football's over.
Some good food. Just focus on these games, and my team's out of it, so I'm just a fan. I'm just watching it. I'm not worried about anything. I just get to yell at my TV and just have fun with it. So, you for the first time in a while get to watch the last weekend of the season. With some chances here for the team.
Excited.
How about that? So we'll see. So, like we say all the time, just follow us on our socials. Get on there on Twitter at Talk Sideline, Instagram Sideline Sport Talk. We're on TikTok. We're on the TikTok.
We're on the TikTok. We
gotta start dancing, Tim. We gotta get you on there to dance.
I gotta get Juju to teach me the Corvette dance. I don't know.
I'm cat out of the bag. I've been working on it.
Okay.
Might see it soon. We'll
Okay,
see.
okay.
We'll
I'm gonna
see.
start
We'll
working
see.
on the filters. I think the face filters are really what's gonna draw people to the TikTok with me, and music choice. I think I'm if I can find some decent '80s music to kind of do the little shoulder shrug into, I think we could be on to Addison Ray numbers. I think that's what we're shooting for.
We'll get up there. We'll get up there. But always working on some stuff. Hopefully, in the next months, weeks and months, we'll have some good stuff, some good
Yeah,
content for you guys. Maybe we can find some interesting people to talk to bring on, and we haven't done that yet, but maybe we'll do that
yeah.
and see where that goes. But any suggestions are always good. Well, anything you guys want to see here, just let us know, and we'll be glad to bring it on just to have some good fun talking sports. And who knows, maybe this year we'll bring on some other topics as well. New year, new opportunities. Talk about some fun stuff other than sports. Not a whole lot of it, but touch on it
Yeah.
and see where that goes and have some fun with it.
I like it. I like it, and I think, like I said, I think we had a good run tonight. I think we got everything covered. We got a little deeper than we were expecting, which is always a good thing. I think it broadens both of our horizons, makes our brains work, and we're gonna be back later on this week, guys. We're gonna have some more topics. I think we're still gonna be touching on NFL playoffs. Where we're sitting with the NCAA predictions, more NBA talk. We'll try and get some more top fives going, and
Yeah.
get you guys to kind of know us a little bit better. But other than that, we'll keep you guys posted, man, and we will see you guys on the sideline.
See ya.